there, good afternoon. I'm Cindy Dole, and this is Home Wizards, your radio home for all things home, garden, and life improvement. Thanks for being with me today. How the heck are you? Well, my thing for making the home better actually started when I was growing up. My dad would always tinker in the garage, or I can still remember him to this day, working in the garden, and my mom loved decorating and throwing parties, and I was in the middle of all of it. And kind of picked and chose the best of all of that. And I was always rearranging my room and just kind of learning how to do things and watching them. And then from my apartment days to eventually now living in a home, I've learned all kinds of ways to make the spaces that I call home better. And so I love talking about it with you and my friends and all of our friends to really get smarter and figure it out. So coming up over the next 2 hours, we've got a lot of good things to talk about. Keep the number handy because I want you to call in. You might have a question. You want to participate. The number is 888-KFWB-980, 888-539-2980. And the idea is not always a major project, you know. More times than not, it's something really, really small, like just organizing or planting or cleaning or, you know, just dreaming, of course. So over the show today, we're going to get you going with all kinds of ideas and solutions. First, we're going to learn how to bring the magic of the Monarch Butterfly to your world. I love the Monarch Butterfly, and so does this guy who is our expert who's going to tell us how to do it. How do you get these beautiful creatures to visit your garden and just show the metamorphosis that happens season after season at your own home? And then we're going to learn a bit about tomatoes from the king of tomatoes. You're going to love this because who doesn't want homegrown tomatoes? Plus, a favorite designer of mine is in the thick of it. He's working on another of his own home projects. He's always in these big things. This one's in the desert, and he's had some challenges, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to hear how when you're a designer and you're working on your own home, then what happens, right? Because it isn't always going perfectly for them either. And he has to overcome a place that was really kind of a work of art and turned to a work of junk. So he's going to fix it all up. And then as we kick off several weeks of the Pasadena Showcase House, we're going to talk about the renovations that have been going on. We're about 3 weeks away from when they open up the doors to all of us. We're going to learn about the bathroom, the ladies' office, and talk with the designers so that we can get smarter. And if you're working from home, you're going to want to know about this. Or if you're thinking about fixing up the bedroom, that too, especially when it's a really small bathroom. We all can relate to that, right? Now, before we get to my first guest, a couple of quick updates to share. Speaking of the Showcase House, we have a new video up on the website. It's the kind of a sneak peek of some of the renovation that's been going on. If you go to the homepage at cindydole.com, just kind of scroll down a little bit. You can't miss it. You'll see some of the different things that have been coming together. Not all of it, but some of it, and we're going to hopefully show you more. Just go to cindydole.com. It has all the YouTube stuff. And now I'm really excited. We have an app for the show. And so when you go to the website, just kind of look over to the right. If you have a smartphone, an iPhone, or an Android, you just download one of those barcodes. You know, they have a bunch of websites where you can do that. A good one's called mobilebarcodes.com. And then once that's in your phone, you literally just wave your phone in front of my website by this little app thing, and now you can take the shows with you. So how cool is that? So I hope you'll do all that. And speaking of the website and Facebook, we have fun talking throughout the week. Yesterday, of course, was April Fool's Day. There was this very fun video that I had to put on the Facebook page about the alien cacti that supposedly was discovered near Roswell. Turns out it was indeed an April Fool's Day prank. It's actually a type of cacti that the friends at California Cactus Center sell. It's known as the living rock cactus or the false peyote, and it's found in Texas. So, okay, we're on to you guys. It wasn't really an alien cactus. Well, now, to something that is an alien, is so beautiful, and we're so lucky to still have the striking monarch butterfly. How to bring them to your piece of the world.
Caterpillar in the tree, how you wonder who you'll be. Can't go far, but you can always dream. Wish you may and wish.
Little Hannah Montana to set the stage with her dad as we think about those 4 stages of the butterfly life, the monarch beauty. And imagine how cool to create a place in your garden and maybe even on your balcony. You don't even have to have a lot of garden to bring them and have your own kind of a National Geographic or Animal Planet display happening every year. Well, with me is a guy who's so passionate about it, and he's going to help us do that right now. David Snow. He is a great landscape contractor and garden designer. He's been featured in Sunset Magazine and all other places, too. And he's working on the Pasadena Showcase House's Butterfly Monarch Garden. So thanks for being here, David.
Cindy, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
And I love your T-shirt. A T-shirt says, "Got milkweed?" And so we're going to explain what that is with a beautiful butterfly on it. And you brought me a caterpillar. You brought me.
I brought you a milkweed, and it has a couple caterpillars on it. So it won't be long before you're going to have a butterfly flying on your patio.
I love it. So before we talk about how we can do it, why are you so excited and passionate about monarchs?
Cindy, it kind of happened slowly, but I was doing a design for a really nice gal in Malibu, right on North Broad Beach, and she had changed her mind a few times, and the last thing she kind of came up with, she said, David, I want you to design me a monarch butterfly habitat. Yeah, I drove all the way home, cane and doom, back up to Thousand Oaks, just rolled my eyes, and I said, now what have I got myself into?
And you've been hooked ever since, huh?
And slowly but surely, I found the milkweed. The whole monarch thing it works around the plant Asclepia, which is called milkweed, the common name. And we planted it in her garden. We didn't really think too much about it. And the next day, they just got dive bombed with monarch butterflies. We were probably doing it in the summertime. And before you know it, these caterpillars grew, ate the milkweed. We needed to get more milkweed. Like everyone knows, it has a monarch butterfly habitat. The key is as much milkweed as you can, because the more caterpillars you have, the more they eat. So before long, and this was in Malibu again, the chrysalis started forming. We found them because they're kind of hard to find, and most people know you have to kind of hunt and look around the garden to see
really?
them. Yeah, because they kind of hide themselves just a little bit, and
but they're camouflaged very well, aren't they?
Yes,
with their
they
pretty
are.
colors,
Yeah.
with the green and the yellow, very neon green, and a little bit of black. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So once you find them, and then we happened to be out there one day, and one came out. And it was just a kind of a cool moment. And that's all this is. A monarch butterfly habitat in your garden is just icing on the cake. Most of you ladies and guys out there, you got nice gardens, you got nice flowers, and there's probably plenty of people out there that at one time or another have planted milkweed. I'm not saying I'm the first.
Now, see, milkweed is not even on my radar screen. I mean, what the heck is milkweed? You got to admit, it looks like marijuana.
Yes. And we grow it. It is very similar. And, Cindy, Milkweed Asclepias was named after the Greek god 2,000 years ago, Asclepia, as for the Greek god of healing.
Oh.
So it's been used not just for monarch butterflies.
It has been used for medicinal reasons.
Yes, it grows in the Native Americans used it for plantar's warts. They used it for rheumatoid arthritis. Oh. It has as many medicinal purposes as, well, I don't want to say marijuana, but it is very similar in that one gets eaten and one gets smoked. I grow the good weed, okay, and I can't get arrested for it. I'm just doing it, and it's you could say, hey,
now the caterpillars don't get high on this.
No, but the nice thing about it has a little bit of a toxicity level, and that's the reason why the birds won't eat those caterpillars.
Yeah, it protects them from lizards.
Absolutely, and the birds won't eat the monarch, because the monarch has been filled with of what the milkweed has, and it just makes an unpleasant experience. So over the years, that's why they've been evolved.
But they're not toxic to children, because we all remember as a child wanting to hold a monarch, right? That isn't going to hurt us.
No. We've done some for a pharmaceutical company, and just to make a habitat amongst their campus. Any company, any corporation that has huge acreage, irrigated property, just down to the simple homeowner that has a little garden. Even
a windowsill,
even
right?
the windowsill. You can do this so easily, and it's light gardening. We do it at assisted living places. We do it at elementary schools, because ladies and gentlemen have moved into assisted living. They've had to give up their cars and their gardens.
And their pets, maybe.
And we bring in the milkweed, and they watch it over a 6 to 7 week period, and it's just a fun thing to watch. That's all it is. It's just a cool thing to have in the garden.
It brings out the child in you, wouldn't you say?
Well, when I'm working with the seniors, they will always recall certain situations. I mean, everyone, I think, in California had a elementary class where they had to do an insect collection.
Yeah.
Now, you got to say, the butterfly is an insect. So, but it is probably it's the only insect on the planet Earth that migrates
across the Atlantic.
Wait, hang on, Cindy. They don't go that far, but they go across the Great Lakes. So if a monarch butterfly,
I read they go across the Atlantic. They don't.
If they go across, if you're in Ontario, Canada, they fly over Lake Erie all the way down to the forest of Mexico. And I kind of
2,000 miles. I mean, they go
2,500.
Yeah.
You bet. It's a long haul for a small little butterfly. Now, our butterflies in California.
Hold that thought.
Okay.
We're still talking. We're going to keep talking about bringing the beautiful monarch all the way from Canada, those 2,500 miles to your neck of the woods, whether you have a big garden or a small garden or all you have is just a little balcony. I love the fact that we can do this. How to get started, what is it with the milkweed, and don't worry, the milkweed can be beautiful. More on that. Cindy Dole, Home Wizards, and this is KFWB News Talk 980.
To the sky, up to the sky, sticking little white flowers all up in her hair.
Love that song, love butterflies, and so glad that you're with me to learn more about how to bring monarchs to your garden or just to your balcony. Cindy Dole here, Home Wizards, and with me is a guy, David Snow, who got the bug or got the caterpillar long ago, and now he's all about making these monarch gardens come to life. And you'll be able to see when you go to the Pasadena Showcase House, the tour that opens up in a few weeks. You'll see his display right there as part of the whole renovation. But David, thanks for being here. And so milkweed is the key.
Milkweed is the key.
And how many types of milkweed are there that work?
Oh, there's hundreds of varieties of milkweed all across the world.
And they work because the caterpillar loves it, feels protected on the milkweed.
Well, it's dependent on the milkweed.
Dependent on the milkweed, yeah.
So when we talk about, the populations, are they on the up, are they on the down? There's two things that go on. Every time a farmer in the Midwest, let's face it, long before we were here, the milkweed was wild and it was growing. So when
people tear it down.
Yeah, and they've lost a lot of acreage. But when Caltrans sprays wild, milkweed, which is narrowleaf milkweed, they lose their population. I mean, it's in decline when we lose the population of milkweed. So that's why everyone is trying. It's just easy to do. If you want to help their population, just put a couple of milkweed in your backyard.
Yeah,
it's really simple.
Well, no, when you say just a couple, I mean, it seems like they would devour all that in a year.
Well, I always call them my ladies that have these gardens. That if you plant 3, you call back and you need 3 more, and you got 6, and you need 3 more, and you got 9, and before you know it, you got about 15 milkweed in your yard, and that's what you really need. But you always start out with 2 or 3.
And this is a full sun operation, and about 6 to 7 hours of sun.
The monarch butterfly prefers to lay its eggs on a milkweed that is in full sun. So what we've started doing is growing milkweed. We grow it through seeds, and anyone that grows it, that has milkweed growing, it has a seed pod, and you can take the seeds off it, and you can put it in a little plastic bag and just give it a couple of weeks, then put it in a little liner, and you can grow the milkweed yourself.
And they really have some pretty flowers. I mean, when you just see the basic milkweed, it looks like nothing.
It really is.
There's oranges and yellows and combos. I mean, Can you get this anywhere? Specialty nurseries?
Well, it's not. I always say that Asclepias, milkweed, is not a mainstream plant. People in the Midwest know it as an invasive plant. So they say, well, hey, where I grew up, that milkweed invaded our property.
I like bamboo almost.
Well, maybe not quite as crazy as bamboo, but that's the people in the Midwest see it as this. Where out in California, it's just becoming more popular, and people are associating now the monarch butterfly with the milkweed. Mm-hmm. And so because it's sometimes hard to find, we've started growing different varieties. In fact, in a couple of years, you're going to see this a little bit more, but we have a milkweed tree that's going to grow up to about 6 feet. And it's in a few places. We saw it growing in a garden in Mar Vista, and we just said, we've just got to get that. So we collected the seed pods, and now we've got about 51 gallons. They're about 18 inches tall. I brought one today for you to take a look. And so always just expanding our varieties, and that's really kind of what we do. It's all milkweed. It doesn't matter if it's a tree or if it's a shrub. The monarchs will lay their eggs on it, and it puts a little magic in the garden. It's kind of a fun thing to do.
And other kinds of plants might attract other kinds of butterflies, right? But it has to be the milkweed to have the monarch. And you get it 4 times a year.
Well, no, in California, on the beach, we do it. It's 12 months out of the year.
Really?
We never stop. No, if you're living in Camarillo,
butterflies 12 months a year?
That's where they are at the wintertime. Now, that's not in Mammoth Lakes, and that's not in Ogden, Utah.
Right.
Now, that's seasonal. But here in the coast, if we're 12 miles inland, Santa Monica, Pacific Palisades, Malibu, as long as the sun's out, they're here. They're around. So as long as you keep providing. Now, it's tougher for them to go into their metamorphosis. The caterpillar climbs up. Once it's been about 3 weeks, goes into a J, goes into a chrysalis. But in the winter, it's tough. It has to deal with cold weather. windy conditions, and it's tougher than it is in the summertime. In the summertime, it's a process that happens quickly. So, but out here, hey, we had them all year at my house. And my daughter, Kendall, did an experiment in her middle school with 5 inside the house, because we do it inside. We get a net, and then we did 5 outside. And let me tell you, those butterflies or the caterpillars that were inside were much happier than the ones on the outside, that's for sure.
And where were they inside?
Oh, we kept them in the family room. I mean, we have a kind of... This is one thing, if you get anything for this program, get the butterfly net, because it makes things a lot easier. Now, some ladies hearing this today, they're going to say, I know. I tried to do it without the net. If you can keep the net in, it just controls it, and you can keep your chrysalises in one place, and you can watch it a little bit easier. But, yeah, don't hesitate.
You almost need a garden cam for all this, don't you?
Well, you can. I mean, but there's a great website, monarchwatch.com. Go on there. You can buy then you can get some great information, and
monarchwatch.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, every time a lady that has the first one that comes out, they're always looking at me, or they'll email me, say, David, we just had by that time they've named it and they've released it, and I'll tell you, they get attached to it, but that's okay.
All right, David, let's tell everybody your website so they can find you. Of course, we can find you at the Pasadena Showcase House in a few weeks, but what is your site?
Yeah, it's dsnowdesign.com.
And you do all kinds of designs besides Monarch designs.
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
cool.
yeah. We do water conservation gardens.
I know you do.
We do, a lot of things that are just more green. We do a lot, which is a whole new program I'd love to talk about sometime. It's just sustainable landscaping.
Well, you're going to come back. That's all there is to it. All right.
Yeah.
We're going to segue now to tomatoes.